Evening, I hope you're well. If someone could just let me know in the chat box that you can hear me okay, that would be great. Can you hear me? Nice one, thanks Jaden. Hi Tony, hi Tandy, and hi Jaden. Thanks for joining me again. Hi Shaz, welcome back. Lone Wolf. So yeah, this is episode 9. 9 weeks we've been doing this. And this episode is called Quiz Tarrant, one of my favourite names so far. I'm sure you can all agree. I hope you're well. I'll give a few moments for other people to join. I hope you're all still enjoying, well, week 9 of the quiz and week, 110 of lockdown, feels like. What I would like to get done, or have an idea of this week, is just how many of you actually play. So I know roughly there's between 30 and 40 people that stream this each week. But I know there's some that have their own teams with more people on there. So it'd be nice if you can just throughout the quiz stick your team names in, but also how many people are playing on your team, just to give me a rough idea of how many people are involved. That'd be great. So who else do we have? We got, I think it's 22 streaming at the moment. So yeah, just stick your names in the box. Say hello. Last one, thanks Tandy, that's 5. Shaz is a lone wolf, so that's 6. Tony normally has 4. Thanks Lauren, welcome back. Sherlock's got 4. Yaps are back. Welcome back Thomas and the little pigs. And you've got to phone a friend, Tandy. Very clever. That was fitting for this week with the name of the quiz. As you're all probably aware of by now, I'm not Beth. I couldn't convince her to host this week's quiz. I think that ship might have sailed, but I'll keep trying. The little pigs have got 5. I assume that's including Tony and Lara. Martinis are normally here by now. That's Ben and Claire. Welcome back the LA Day Drinkers upon St. Neots, 4 of you. And Darren. Cool. So just for the benefit of any that might be watching that haven't played before, there are 6 rounds. After rounds 1 to 3 we take a quick break. We also mark up those rounds and then we carry on and complete the quiz. As of last week we've not been keeping scores, but it's completely up to you guys. If you want to keep your scores and play amongst yourselves, that's fine, but we're just here to have a bit of fun. Most people have figured out how to rewind the live stream on YouTube, so if you do miss a question you can use that, but each team does have 2 recaps they can use as well, so just put in the box what you need to go back over. I'll make a note of any recaps that you've used, and yeah, we'll go from there. So Darren's team are called Late Nights and Heartbreak. Fair enough. There's 8 in Mitch's team. So if I'm right in thinking, Mitch, you're including the Yaps as well. So my mum and dad, Aisha and Joel. Cool. Okay. Just for your benefit as well, for all teams, as of, well, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we started including some music mashups in the quiz. There are more of those this week, and some additional sounds for another round. So it is quite important that you can hear me quite well and what I play, just to give you a heads up. But for now, if we are ready to go, then just let me know in the box, and we'll start week 9 of the quiz. Got one ready from the crackpots. Another ready from the floating hedgehogs. Mitch's team have changed their name to Return of the Yap. Lone Wolf, Shaz, is ready. Southwest Massive. And the Sherlocks are ready to go. Okay, cool. So, just give me one moment. Cool. So, as I said, there's 6 rounds, and as we have been for the last few weeks, we're starting with geography. All of these rounds are based on the game of Trivial Pursuit. So geography is the first round, and here is your first question. The Gold Coast used to be the name for what country on Africa's west coast? Better late than never. Better late than never. It's Martinis. Welcome back, Ben. So that's question 1 for you. The Gold Coast used to be the name for what country on Africa's west coast? Okay. Question 2. On the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? So on the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? If you have very keen eyes, you might be able to spot it on that picture, on that map. Okay, so that was question 2. On the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? Question 3. What is the largest UK city without a professional football team? Question 3. What is the largest UK city without a professional football team? Note that the question is not any UK city, it has to be the largest UK city. What constitutes professional football? So any team that appears in, or anything but non-league, I suppose. Fully paid up team. Okay, so that's question 3. Question 4. The equator passes through how many countries? The equator passes through how many countries? So that's the invisible line that separates the northern from southern hemisphere. Okay, so that's question 4. Question 5. Name the 5 boroughs of New York. It's 1 point for naming all 5. Okay, so that's question 5. Name the 5 boroughs of New York. 1 point for naming all 5 correctly. Question 6. This is Japan, which is made up of 4 main islands. What is the name of this island? So the largest island that forms Japan is this mass here. But what is the name of that island? First island is here. Second island is here, third island here, fourth island there. There is a 5th, a much smaller island, way off the coast right over here. But the 4 main islands that make up Japan are here. But what is the name of this island here that forms the main mass of Japan? Okay, so that's question 6. What is the name of that island? That's been pointed out there. Question 7. What is the name of the river that flows through Dublin? You can see it there in the picture. So what is the name of the river that flows through Dublin? Okay, so that's question 7. What is the name of the river that flows through Dublin? Question 8. The name of which Central American country means the saviour in English? Okay, so question 8. The name of which Central American country means the saviour in English? Question 9. What is a piece of shallow salt water separated from the deeper sea by coral or sand called? So what is a piece of shallow salt water separated from the deeper sea by coral or sand called? So it's a body of water, a body of salt water that is cut off from the rest of the sea. Okay, so that's question 9. Question 10, the last question for geography. Which US state capital is known as the Mile High City because of its elevation above sea level? So question 10, which US state capital is known as the Mile High City because of its elevation above sea level? So that was geography. The next round is history. Before we jump in, does anyone want me to go back and recap a question? Like I said, you can rewind the live feed on YouTube to go back if you need to. Okay, good to go. So history. First question. In which year was Joan of Arc burned at the stake? Okay, so that's question 1. In which year was Joan of Arc burned at the stake? Question 2. Which English city was once known as Ponte? Which English city was once known as Ponte? I'll give you a clue, although I'm not sure if it is a clue, but that is a Roman name. Okay, so that's question 2 for history. Which English city was once known as Ponte? Question 3. What did the Romans call Wales? Another clue, and it wasn't Ponte. Okay, that's question 3. What did the Romans call Wales? Question 4. Who was the only British Pope? Okay, so question 4. Who was the only British Pope? Question 5. What links these two? So that woman and that building are linked. What is the link between those two? So history, question 5. What links these two? So what is the link between those two pictures? Have a good look. Question 6. What colour were the pyramids at Giza originally? What colour were the pyramids at Giza originally? So you can see them in all their glory as we know them today, but when they were built, what colour were they? Okay, so that's question 6. What colour were the pyramids at Giza originally? Question 7. Which city became capital of West Germany in 1949? Which city became capital of West Germany in 1949? So the start of the Cold War, when Germany was split, east and west. This is West Germany, this is East Germany. Berlin was split, we know that with the Berlin Wall. But at the start of that period, another city in the west of Germany was chosen to be the capital. Okay, so question 7. Which city became capital of West Germany in 1949? Question 8. Which country sent its navy around the world to fight the Japanese in 1904? I suppose there's a clue there in the fact that it says they had to go around the world to reach the Japanese. So question 8, which country sent its navy around the world to fight the Japanese in 1904? Question 9 for history. What was the first human invention that broke the sound barrier? Question 9. What was the first human invention that broke the sound barrier? Question 10, the last question for history. Who overthrew King Idris in 1969? Question 10, who overthrew King Idris in 1969? You can see King Idris in the picture there. Cool. Okay, so that's the last question for history. The next round is entertainment, but again, before we start, does anyone want me to go back and recap a question? Just let me know in the box. Cool. Good to go. Give you a couple more seconds. Cool. Okay, so entertainment. First question. How many times was Leonardo DiCaprio nominated for an Academy Award before he eventually won one? So how many times was Leonardo DiCaprio nominated for an Academy Award before he eventually won one? The Academy Award obviously is an Oscar. Cool, so that's question 1. Question 2. Who won the Brit Award for Best Female Solo Artist in 2020? Happened not long before lockdown. So who won the Brit Award for Best Female Solo Artist in 2020? Okay, so that's question 2 for entertainment. Question 3, name the character. So name the character. Some of you older viewers might get that. Okay, so that's question 3, name the character. Question 4, who entered a contest to find his own lookalike and came third? Who entered a contest to find his own lookalike and came third? Okay, so that's question 4. Question 5 is name the band. Okay, so that's question 5, name the band. And one last look at them. And question 6 is the first of the music questions. So this week I think I fixed it so I can just play it within the quiz itself, so I haven't got to chop out. So again, for those that might not have played, and just as a reminder, I'm going to play you a track that's been 2 songs being mashed up. One song, an artist will provide the vocals, and another song, an artist will provide the instrumentals. And it's 1 point for naming both artist and song for each. Yeah. So I'm going to play them twice. If someone could just let me know that you can hear it okay, that'd be great as well. This is the first one.
There's a killer on the road. His brain is burning like a toad. Take a long holiday. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family.
Okay, so I'll play it once more for you.
There's a killer on the road. His brain is burning like a toad. Take a long holiday. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family.
Okay, so that's question 6. Just name the artist and song from the vocals and artist and song for the instrumentals for 1 point. So the next one's question 7, and I'll play you the first round. This is the first playing.
In between, what I find is pleasing and I feel fine. Love is so confusing, there's no peace of mind. If I fear I'm losing you, it's just no good. You're teasing like you never.
Okay, I'll play it once more for you.
In between, what I find is pleasing and I feel fine. Love is so
question 7. This is question 8. Okay, I'll play that one more time for you. Okay, so that was question 8. Question 9. Play that one more time for you. Okay, so that's question 9. Question 10, the last one for entertainment. One more time. Cool. So that was entertainment and the end of the first 3 rounds. Before we jump into the answers, does anyone want me to go back and recap a question in entertainment? I don't really want to play the music again, but let me know. Cool. Looks like we're good to go. There's always one. Dad wants one back from history. Okay, I'll play 10 again for Lauren. So this is 10. Cool. And then Dad wants one right at the back of beginning of history. There we go. So question 10, history. Who overthrew King Idris in 1969? Okay. That's all of them. We'll get cracking with the answers. Is everyone ready? Cool, okay, so starting with geography, the first round, and the answers to question 1. So the Gold Coast used to be the name for what country on Africa's west coast? That is Ghana. As you can see it here, I think these are all the administrative sites of Ghana before it was formed as a country. but it was referred to as the Gold Coast because of the amount of gold that could be found there. So question 1, the answer was Ghana. Question 2, on the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? That is Ickenham, which can be found here, I think on the Metropolitan line, as well as, I can't remember what that line is, but yeah, Ickenham, question 2. Question 3, what is the largest UK city without a professional football team? That's Wakefield. So Wakefield for question 3. I've been there a couple of times. It's pretty grim, to be honest with you. Apologies if any of you live there. But so question 3, the answer is Wakefield. Question 4, the equator passes through how many countries? That's 13. I'll run through them quickly. So Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Gabon, Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Kenya, Somalia, Maldives, Indonesia, and Kiribati, and then right over here, right there on the equator, Sao Tome and Principe. So yeah, 13 that it runs through. Question 5, name the 5 boroughs of New York. We have the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. Bronx in the north, Staten Island in the south, everything else in between. So yeah, there's 1 point for all 5. Question 6, this is Japan, which is made up of 4 main islands. What is the name of this island? And the largest island there, that's Honshu. So question 6, the answer is Honshu. Question 7, what is the name of the river that flows through Dublin? That's the Liffey. So question 7, the answer is the Liffey. Question 8, the name of which Central American country means the saviour in English? That's El Salvador. So question 8, the answer is El Salvador. Question 9, what is a piece of shallow salt water separated from the deeper sea by coral or sand called? That's a lagoon. So you can see there a demonstration of a lagoon separated from the rest of the sea. And then the last question for geography, which US state capital is known as the Mile High City because of its elevation above sea level? That's Denver. Demonstration of that, so you've got Everest up here on the scale, sea level down here. In Denver, there's almost like 16% less available oxygen compared to somewhere like Miami, which is closer to sea level. And in fact, there is a petition in Denver to stop all professional sports for 2 reasons. One, sports people that perform at that kind of altitude for a long period of time can damage their health. Also in the short term, it gives them a large advantage over their competitors. So yep, so that's Denver, so that was geography. History, round 2. First question for history. In which year was Joan of Arc burned at the stake? That's 1431. So question 1, the answer is 1431. Question 2, which English city was once known as Duroleponte? That's Cambridge. Apparently it was a large Roman settlement before it became Cambridge. History question 3. What did the Romans call Wales? That was Cambria. So question 3, the answer is Cambria. Question 4. Who was the only British Pope? That was Adrian IV. And as with all good British popes, he has dropped his cigarette. So yeah, question 4, the answer is Adrian IV. Question 5, what's the link between these two? That's Henry VIII. That's a picture of the actress Jane Seymour, who was also the name of one of Henry VIII's wives, and that is Hampton Court Palace, one of the places where Henry VIII lived. So question 5, the answer is Henry VIII. Question 6, what colour were the pyramids at Giza originally? They were white. As you can see there in the picture. So they were white. Question 7. Which city became capital of West Germany in 1949? That was Bonn, over here in the west. It's referred to as the, I think, the Bonn Republic. Yep, so question 7, the answer is Bonn. Question 8, which country sent its navy around the world to fight the Japanese in 1904? That was Russia. And the reason they had to send the navy around the world is because they didn't have a naval base on their eastern shore, which is why they had to go from the other side. And the fight was over here, Port Arthur, when China was collapsing and the Republic was being formed. The Russians bullied China into giving this port to them, which the Japanese did not like, so they went and attacked it. And the Japanese won. So which country sent its navy around the world to fight the Japanese in 1904? That was Russia. Question 9. What was the first human invention that broke the sound barrier? That is the whip. So the whip. So the crack you hear when you crack the whip, it's not the whip hitting something, it's the crack of the sound barrier being broken. Cool. So that's question 9, the whip. Question 10, who overthrew King Idris in 1969? That was Colonel Gaddafi. And that was in Libya. So question 10 for history, and the answer was Colonel Gaddafi. Cool. So we then move on to entertainment. Question 1, how many times was Leonardo DiCaprio nominated for an Academy Award before he eventually won one? That was 4. I can't remember all the films off the top of my head, but I know he was nominated for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Aviator, The Departed, I think, as well. Obviously, I think he won eventually for The Revenant. It might have been Wolf of Wall Street as well. I think he might have been nominated for. Can't remember. But yeah, question 1, the answer's 4. Question 2, who won the Brit Award for Best Female Solo Artist in 2020? That was Mabel. I have no idea who she is, but that is her with her award. So question 2, the answer is Mabel. Name the character. That is Mr. McHenry from the Magic Roundabout. Some of the older viewers might have got that one. It's question 3, the answer is Mr. McHenry. Question 4, who entered a contest to find his own lookalike and came 3rd? That was Charlie Chaplin. It was in 1975, which does make a big difference because he was a lot older. Most of his films were made in the 1920s and earlier. And obviously most people were used to see him in black and white, and apparently he had piercing blue eyes, which in real life many people didn't believe. So question 4, the answer was Charlie Chaplin. Question 5, the answer to that, of the band, was the Blossoms. So question 5, the answer is the Blossoms. Question 6, so I'll quite play this quickly.
There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. Take a long holiday. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family.
Okay, so the Doors and Riders on the Storm were providing the vocals, and the instrumentals were Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Relax. Okay, so that's question 6. Question 7.
In between, what I find is pleasing and I'm feeling fine. Love is so confusing, there's no peace of mind. If I fear I'm losing you, it's just no good. You're teasing like you never.
Okay, so that was Blondie and Heart of Glass for the vocals, and it was the Platters with Only You for the instrumentals. That's question 7. Question 8, think most of you might have got this. Okay, so that was Snow Patrol and Chasing Cars for the vocals, and then the Police with Every Breath You Take for the instrumentals. Question 8, and then question 9. Okay, so that was the Beatles with Helter Skelter, and then Lenny Kravitz with Always on the Run. And then question 10. Okay, so that's Kylie Minogue and Can't Get You Out of My Head for the vocals, and then New Order with Blue Monday for the instrumentals. Cool. So that was the first 3 rounds. Obviously tally up your scores if you want to. We'll take a quick break. But when you're ready, just stick ready in the box and we'll crack on with the last 3. Oh, I missed James's request for question 3. Sorry, James. I guess that's entertainment. Shaz wants to adopt Spencer.
No.
He's in the doghouse, so to speak, this week. Beth had an important meeting earlier in the week, and she had prepped ages for it. Right in the middle of the meeting, Spencer walks through the back door with a magpie in his mouth. A dead one, but it was huge. And then on the garden fence, there's about 3 other magpies just shouting at him. That is a regular occurrence in our household. Either dead or alive wildlife in my bedroom or front room. Cool. I'm going to grab some ice, so give me one moment. James is right, I do need to do I think, let me think this through. So not tomorrow, James, but the following Monday, I will do you a quiz as a one-off special, yes, on wrestling. So not just WWE, but I'll do the lot. And then get the word around as many wrestling fans that you want included to let them know. Maybe get a couple of teams set up. But yeah, so hold on, when is that? The 15th of June. So yeah, let some people know. I'll do, I don't know, 4 rounds on it or something like that. I'll try and include some video maybe. Cool, okay. Got a contender there, James, with Max. Max, I'm guessing, obviously, he doesn't know all the old stuff. You know, when I was growing up in the 90s, Hulk Hogan and all that. But for now, are we ready? Do we want to crack on with arts and literature? Max is a connoisseur of wrestlers. Of course, he's got YouTube, isn't he? I bet he doesn't know giant haystacks, though, does he? Cool, right, I'll set it up, 15th of June. But do we want to, is everyone ready to crack on with this one? Just stick ready in the box and we will start with arts and literature. Cool, got 4 or 5 readies. Cool, okay, ready to go. So arts and literature, 4th round, and your first question is, name the painting. Very famous painting. I think all of you probably know who painted it, but do you know the name? It is one of my favourites as well, Shaz. Forgive the pun, but it is fairly timeless. Okay, so that's question 1. Have a good look at the painting. Question 2. Name the artist. Maybe a bit harder. Okay, have a good look. That's question 2. Name the artist. Question 3. What is the name of Garfield's girlfriend? Okay, so question 3. What is the name of Garfield's girlfriend? Question 4. According to the Bible, after Jesus' death on the stake, his body was buried in the tomb of Joseph of what? So according to the Bible, after Jesus' death on the stake, his body was buried in the tomb of Joseph of what? So it was common back then to give someone a name based on where they came from. Jesus of Nazareth, for example. But Joseph of what? His tomb was used to bury Jesus. The author has also noticed that the picture accurately depicts Jesus being placed on a stake and not a cross. Okay, so question 4. According to the Bible, after Jesus' death on the stake, his body was buried in the tomb of Joseph of what? That's question 4. Question 5. Published between 1917 and 1974, who wrote the Jeeves series of novels and short stories? Question 5. Published between 1917 and 1974, who wrote the Jeeves series of novels and short stories? Okay, so that's question 5. Question 6. Complete the title of this 1960 Dr. Seuss novel. One fish, two fish, something fish, something fish. So complete the title of this 1960 Dr. Seuss novel, One fish, two fish, something fish, something fish. Okay, so that's question 6. Question 7. Who painted this? So this time I'm not after the art, I am after the artist. I don't need the name of the painting. I just want to know who painted it. I think we are just post watershed, so I think I can show that picture. So question 7, who painted this? Take one last look. Question 8, first published in 1989, what is the name of this American comic strip written and illustrated by Scott Adams? I think a lot of the quite a few of these comics have been made into memes. So first published in 1989, what is the name of this American comic strip written and illustrated by Scott Adams? Okay, so that's question 8. Question 9. The line double, double, toil and trouble comes from what piece of literature? So the line double, double, toil and trouble comes from what piece of literature? I know that line has also been made into a film, but where is it written originally? Okay, so that's question 9. Question 10 and the last question for arts and literature is, what links these two? So the women on the left all have something in common, which is linked to this painting. Okay, so what is the link between these two? So what do these women have in common? And therefore, what is the link with this painting? So have one last look. And that is arts and literature. But before we move on to science and nature, does anyone want me to recap a question? Cool, we're good to go? So last week, I think you all remember the Llama gate with pictures of similar looking animals. That may or may not be repeated again in this round, we'll see. So science and nature. First question. In which modern day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? So in which modern day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? Okay, so that's question 1. Question 2 is name the animal. Okay, so question 2, name the animal. Have one last look. Question 3. In 1911, Marie Curie won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for discovering 2 elements. Name one of them. So you just need to name one of the elements that she discovered for the point. So in 1911, Marie Curie won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for discovering 2 elements. Name one of them. Okay, so that's question 3. Question 4, name the animal. Okay, so question 4, name the animal. Have one last look. Question 5, what do silkworms feed on? And there is a very specific answer to that question. So what do silkworms feed on? Okay, so that's question 5. What do silkworms feed on? Question 6, name the animal. So I was just messing around with you the first couple of name the animal questions. But this one, name the animal. Okay, made your decision. Question 6, name the animal. One last look. Okay, so question 7. In which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? In which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? There is a small clue in the question. Okay, so that's question 7. In which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? Question 8. Name the animal. Okay, so that's question 8. Name the animal. Have one last look. Question 9. Where does the Arctic tern migrate to? So the Arctic tern is the bird on the right, but where does it migrate to? Okay, so that's question 9. Where does the Arctic tern migrate to? Question 10, and the last question for science and nature. Name the animal. Shannon apparently finds that quite cute. Okay, so have one last look. That was question 10, the last question for science and nature. The next round is sports and leisure. Before we crack on, does anyone want me to recap anything from the last round? Six. Lone Wolf would like to look at 6 again. So that is 6. Okay. Cool. No more recaps? We're good to go? Alrighty then. Okay, so with this round, as with the entertainment round, for some of these questions it will be important that you can hear. So just a heads up that everyone in your team can hear what's going to be played. So, sports and leisure, first question. What is the pitch called in American football? I didn't know this before I researched it. So question 1, what is the pitch called in American football? And when I say pitch, I mean, what is the green area called? Okay, so that's question 1. What is the pitch called in American football? Question 2. Who is the only player to have scored in the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, Conference, FA Cup, League Cup, Football League Trophy, FA Trophy, Champions League, Europa League, Scottish Premier League, Scottish Cup and Scottish League Cup? So the only player to have scored in the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two, Conference, FA Cup, League Cup, Football League Trophy, FA Trophy, Champions League, Europa League, Scottish Premier League, Scottish Cup and Scottish League Cup. And now probably has the record for the longest question in one of these quizzes. Expects the likes of Woodford to get this, maybe Tandy. I think my brother-in-law will probably get it. That's Matt Holmes. maybe Tim. Okay. So it's question 2. Have one last look at that. Okay, so that's question 2. Question 3. What is this ball called? So this white ball here, what is that called? Eric, I think you'll definitely get the first question about the American football pitch. Apparently it's well known to Americans and football fans, I suppose. Okay, so that's question 3. What is that ball called? Question 4. Name the sports star from the emojis. Okay, so that's question 4. Question 5, and this is the first of a few questions where you're going to need to listen. So you need to name the sports star from their voice. They could be talking about their sport, they could be talking about anything. You don't need to name the person they're talking about. You just need to name the person that it is talking. In some of the clips, there might be more than one person speaking, but one person dominates the conversation, and that's the person that we want. So this is the first one. I'll play for you. So just name the sports star.
Well, actually, it was an accident. I was on vacation, just taking some time for myself, and I have this thing where I've been, checking my status and taking pictures every week to see how far along I'm going, and
sharing it with friends, maybe?
No, I actually have just been saving it.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Okay, I'll play it one more time for you.
Well, actually, it was an accident. I was on vacation, just taking some time for myself, and I have this thing where I've been, checking my status and taking pictures every week to see how far along I'm going, and
sharing it with friends, maybe?
No, I actually have just been saving it.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Okay, so that's question 5. Question 6, again, name the sports star, just the person talking.
I think he has had the most influence on my game as a coach, and of course next to my parents, maybe also as a person. We had great times together. It's very clear, and he really actually, I think, teach me the beautiful technique I play today.
Okay, I'll play it one more time for you.
I think he has had the most influence on my game as a coach, and of course next to my parents, maybe also as a person. We had great times together. It's very clear, and he really actually, I think, teach me the beautiful technique I play today.
Cool, so that's question 6. Question 7.
Happy to be here. They think I'm a basketballer or I play NFL or something like that, and sometimes we play along to it, Like I just tell them I tore my ACL, and right now, but no.
Okay, one more time.
Happy to be here. They think I'm a basketballer or I play NFL or something like that. And sometimes we play along to it, you know. Like I just tell them I tore my ACL and right now, but no.
Cool. Okay, so that's question 7. Question 8. And this is the last one of these.
Thank you. No, I mean, I think I never imagined, you know, I don't think you can even dream that big to have achieved so much. But as always, you know, it doesn't stop there. You want more. So in this regard, I am greedy, and you know, I want more.
Okay, one more time.
Thank you. No, I mean, I think I never imagined, you know, I don't think you can even dream that big to have achieved so much. But as always, you know, it doesn't stop there. You want more. So in this regard, I am greedy, and you know, I want more.
Okay, so that's question 8. That was the last one of those. Question 9. The former athlete Frankie Fredericks represented which African country? So question 9, the former athlete Frankie Fredericks represented which African country? Okay, so that's question 9. And then question 10, the last question for sports and leisure, and the last question of the quiz. The noun sport is a shortening of which word? Question 10. The noun sport is a shortening of which word? So it means to do something, but it was shortened from another word. Okay, so that was question 10, the last question of the quiz. Before we start going back through the answers, does anyone want me to recap a question in sports and leisure? Just let me know. Cool. Looks like we are good to go. Give you a couple of seconds. Cool, right, we'll crack on then. So the answers to arts and literature. First question, name the painting. That is The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. So question 1, the answer is The Persistence of Memory. Question 2, name the artist. That is David Hockney. So name the artist. That is David Hockney. Question 3, what is the name of Garfield's girlfriend? That is Arlene. Question 3, the answer is Arlene. Question 4, according to the Bible, after Jesus' death on the stake, his body was buried in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, which again was fulfillment of Bible prophecy. It said he was buried in a tomb of a rich man, of which Joseph was. So question 4, the answer is Arimathea. Question 5, published between 1917 and 1974, who wrote the Jeeves series of novels and short stories? That is P.G. Wodehouse. Okay, so question 5, the answer is P.G. Wodehouse. Question 6, complete the title of this 1960 Dr. Seuss novel, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. So the answer to question 6 is Red Fish, Blue Fish. Question 7, who painted this? That is Sandro Botticelli. I believe it's called The Birth of Venus. So question 7, the answer is Sandro Botticelli. Question 8, first published in 1989, what is the name of this American comic strip written and illustrated by Scott Adams? That is Dilbert. So question 8, the answer is Dilbert. Question 9, the line double double, toil and trouble comes from what piece of literature? That is Macbeth. It's from the scene with the three witches. So question 9, the answer is Macbeth. Question 10, what links these two? It's Titian. So I believe, my understanding is, the colour of their hair is Titian, and the painter of this painting, which is called The Rape of Europa, is Titian. So his name is also a colour, apparently. And at first I thought that was some sort of rat, but it is the bull that Zeus took the form of to take Europa from her home and keep her captive on Crete. So the answer to question 10 is Titian. So that was arts and literature, and the next round was science and nature, favourite round with the animals. So question 1, in which modern day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? That was Poland. Maybe some of you said France, she was a French citizen, but she was born in Poland. So that's question 1, the answer is Poland. Question 2, name the animal. That is a millipede. So question 2, the answer is millipede. Question 3, in 1911, Marie Curie won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for discovering 2 elements. Name one of them. You could have had radium or polonium. So either one for the point. She was awarded for her work on both. She studied radiation with radium, didn't unfortunately understand its side effects, and her entire house, her entire lab, all of her instruments became radioactive, and they still are today. I think at the time actually there was toothpaste and other kind of household items that were made using radium, not knowing that they were radioactive. So question 3, the answers are radium and polonium. Question 4, name the animal. That is a centipede. And here I've included a diagram of their anatomies to show the difference. Main difference is not shown here actually, but its length. I think the millipede tends to be longer, the centipede slightly shorter with longer legs, but the main difference is each section of their bodies on the millipede has 2 legs either side, but with a centipede it's 1 leg either side. Cool. So that's question 4. The answer is centipede. Question 5. What do silkworms feed on? That is mulberry leaves. Not just any old leaves, but they eat mulberry leaves. Okay, so question 5, the answer is mulberry leaves. Question 6, I believe this is the other name the animal. So name the animal, that is an alligator. Okay, so the first one is an alligator. And we'll go through the differences between all of them in a little bit. But question 6, the answer is alligator. Question 7, in which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? And that is in the spine. At the very top of the spine, it almost acts as a plate to help support the skull. And the name is derived from Greek mythology with the Titan called Atlas that was punished by Zeus for starting a war against the Olympians, and he had to hold up the sky. And therefore, having a strong backbone is where that term comes from, and that bone was named after him, Atlas. So question 7, the answer was spine. Question 8, name the animal. That is a crocodile. So the first one was an alligator, this one is a crocodile. Question 9, where does the Arctic tern migrate to? That is Antarctic. So it travels 25,000 miles each year from the Arctic to the Antarctic. So the answer to question 9 is the Antarctic. And in question 10, the last name the animal question. That one there, slightly different picture to what was in the question, but that is a gorile. Technically, the gorile is a form of crocodile, but that is the specific name for that creature with a long snout. And this just shows the differences. So apparently the alligator has more of a V-shaped snout. Crocodile has more of a U-shaped snout when you look above, and these ones are a bit more obvious. Okay, so that was science and nature, question 10. The next round was sports and leisure. So sports and leisure, I think the first question, I will give you that, Mitch, because it is sometimes also referred to the fish-eating croc. But I'll give you that. Okay. So sports and leisure. First question was, what is the pitch called in American football? Does anyone want to hazard a guess before I show the answer? I'm guessing Eric knows it. Anyone want to try? Yeah, Mike's got it. Mitch has got it. Yeah. So what is the pitch called in American football? It's called the gridiron. It's one word as well, apparently, but I'll let you have it if you put 2 words. It's called the gridiron because I think when initially they first started playing, these were in grids or in squares. Apparently it looked like some sort of gridiron, so they called it the gridiron. I think most people commonly call it the field, but in the technical terms, it's called a gridiron. So question 1, that was the gridiron. Question 2, who is the only player to have scored in the Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, Conference, FA Cup, League Cup, Football League Trophy, FA Trophy, Champions League, Europa League, Scottish Premier League, Scottish Cup and Scottish League Cup? That is Gary Hooper. And I actually went to school with him for a brief time. He's from Harlow. He's a couple of years younger than me. We went to the same primary school for a while until we moved to Loughton. But yeah, he's the only player to have scored in all of those Tournaments and leagues. Gary Hooper. Better than Messi. So our answer to Messi. Cool. So question 2, that was Gary Hooper. Question 3, what is this ball called? That is the jack. As part of the game of bowls, or lawn bowls. But the white ball is called the jack. Question 4, name the sports star. That's Mike Tyson. So Mike, Ty, made it a bit harder with this one. That's son. I didn't want to put actually the son, makes it a bit too easy for you. But yeah, Mike Tyson. Question 5. You can see the answer there, but yeah.
Well, actually, it was an accident. I was on vacation, just taking some time for myself, and I have this thing where I've been, checking my.
So that was Serena Williams. That's her being interviewed as part of a TED Talk. So question 5 was Serena Williams. Before I move on to the next one, does anyone want to hazard a guess as to what the next voice was or who it was? Does anyone have an answer for question 6? No one wants to put their hand up. Boris. A few people have said Federer. Okay, so question 6. It was Roger Federer.
I think he has had the most influence on my game as a coach, and of course next to my parents, maybe also as a person,
Cool. Yeah, that's him being interviewed on 60 Minutes in Australia. Question 7. Again, does anyone want to hazard a guess to the voice in question 7? I think question 7 was the easiest one. Yeah, Tanya's got it. That was Anthony Joshua.
Happy to be here. They think I'm a basketballer or I play NFL or something like that, and sometimes we play along to it,
So that's him being interviewed on the Conan show. And then the last one, question 8, maybe the hardest one, possibly, depends on how good you are with sport. Anyone want to hazard a guess what the answer was for question 9? Question 8? Mitch has got it. Yep. Sebastian Vettel.
Thank you. No, I mean, I think I never imagined, I don't think you can even dream that big.
Yep, so Sebastian Vettel being interviewed by Martin Brundle. Okay, so then question 9. The former athlete Frankie Fredericks represented which African country? That was Namibia. So question 9, the answer is Namibia. Question 10, the noun sport is derived from which word? That is disport, a diversion from work or serious matters, or to amuse oneself in light or lively manner. So that was the term used before sport became an actual thing. And then sport refers to doing something with that time, but specifically within competitive sport. So if anyone likes to take sport too seriously, just remind them of the origin of that word. It's diversion from work or serious matters. Cool. So that was this week's quiz. I hope you all enjoyed it. Obviously, you can tally up the scores if you like, but we're not gonna keep them officially. I appreciate all of you playing. I initially started the quiz, just a couple of weeks after lockdown. It was, originally meant to be played just during lockdown. Obviously, lockdown is starting to be eased. I think I'll do maybe 1 or 2 more. People's lives start to get back into normal rhythm. They might want their Sunday evenings back. I'm not too interested in playing, but I'll do another one at least, I think. Going to keep on trying getting Beth involved, but I don't think she's too keen. Obviously, James, I've promised you on the 15th, I'll do a special one-off quiz on wrestling. So start getting your wrestling mates together, maybe have a couple of teams playing at least, just for a bit of fun. But if anyone else wants to, recommend a specific quiz, I can do some one-offs for people if there's a bit of an interest for it. And then, sticking to those categories that we have for the last few weeks of Trivial Pursuit. If anyone wants to suggest some types of questions, I know my dad has mentioned the odd one out, which I will try and do for next week. I didn't have a lot of time to prep for this week's one, but I will try and do it. Every week he asks for a badminton question. All right, next week in Sports and Leisure I will include a badminton question, but I'm not doing a complete round on it. Any other suggestions? Thanks, Eric. Cheers, Mitch. Thanks, Ben. No, thanks, Jaden. Obviously, you can all, during the week, keep hounding Beth to maybe host next week, or at least...
I'll do a round.
She said she'd do a round. I might take her up on that. At least you can do one round. But cool. No, I appreciate all you guys taking the time to tune in and play. Hope you've enjoyed it. Again, if you've got any suggestions, just let me know during the week. But take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week at 8 o'clock. Cheers, guys. No, Beth, I'm not saluting them.